God damn it! You just told it.
He's laughing because it's true.
Uh-oh.
Non-life guy understands the reference.
I don't understand it. What is
It's
it?
the same password I have on my luggage.
Oh, Spaceballs. Yeah.
Alright, so we're gonna do this lesson on good old post plants. So if you're gonna be in the lesson, have you spectate me, or rather, just don't like make noise with grenades or flashes. So it should be a very productive session. I am currently streaming right now, so to those who are watching this in VODs, we should be good to go. So, any questions before I begin?
That's a negative.
Alright.
Nope.
So last week we talked about retakes from the counter-terrorist perspective, where the counter-terrorist objective was to retake the bomb site, kill all the terrorists on it, or rather get himself in a position where they can safely defuse the bomb. So we talked about some tricks to do that, you know, some philosophy, general tactics you can use, and all that good stuff. So the VOD's up there in the thread, go check it out. So this week we're going to do the opposite. We're actually going to talk about terrorist post plans and how to approach them so that the CTs have the worst possible time going for the retake. So before we begin, like, if you were here or watched the VOD for the retake, basically everything I'm going to say for the terrorist post plan is going to be exact opposite of the for the retake. For example, it's like we're gonna still play for time, but we're gonna play for time in a different manner. You're gonna, you know, take the duels, but you're gonna take duels in a different manner, and all that good stuff. So we'll just start by beginning. So basically, the idea of a post plan for terrorists is to set themselves into position so that anytime the counter-terrorist enters the bomb site, or rather enters the bomb area, they have a disadvantage of every angle they take. So in this case, for example, an A main, like, you know, there's four main ways that CTs can come into the bomb site, right? So CTs can come in through truck, they can come in through highway, they can come in through A main, and they can come in through squeaky, right? And the good thing about post plan is that most of the time, unless it's like a 5v5, you generally know where the other CTs can be. So, for example, you say you do an A execute as a terrorist on to A site, so you smoke here, you know, you do your smokes, whatever. You kill off the forklift guy, and you kill off the quad guy. So now you know that the terrorists, the CTs can only come from two locations, right? Right at three. It could be a CT that's from B, that's already pushing up A main. It could be a CT from truck, and there could be a CT coming from highway, right? So the first step post plan is identifying, okay, based on where we killed the CTs or where we didn't kill the CTs, where are the CTs, or where they can possibly be. And the reason for that we do this is because then we can then start to identify our next step in the post plan, which is going to be which spots should we take for the post plan. Now, for taking the post plan, this is actually going to probably be the most difficult part of the lesson, because this is basically kind of very hard to show with only one person. But for the post plan, your job is the opposite of CTs. You want to minimize the amount of 1v1 duels you're taking and maximize the amount of crossfires you're setting up. What I mean by that is that the CT's objective is going to be able to block out each terrorist one by one, so that every time they enter an angle or enter the bomb site, they only have to fight one terrorist at a time. That is the goal of a CT for the retake, when they go full for the retake. So basically, what you need to do as a terrorist player on post plan is to minimize that, or rather, completely stop the any potential for a CT to get that 1v1 goal. So anytime that you get a 2v1 engagement as a terrorist, you're happy. Alright, rather, as long as you can get the trade kill, you're happy in the end. Server!
Rip.
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 Okay.
RIP server.
Alright, give me a
New
second.
York, then?
New York's not even up yet. Is it?
I was just on it.
Oh, okay. Alright, so, I'm just gonna keep talking, though. Because basically I don't need to be on the map to talk about that, but... So anyway, we're talking about the,
User joined your channel.
the setup, so... What we need to
Thomas
do...
lies. Hello.
Alright, so it looks like... Give me a second, I'm going to restart the server. Yeah, so... It's going to be fine, though, but... What we need to do as the counter-terrorist is set up crossfires. So, The way we're going to do this is by first, actually, we're going to do the very similar method that we did on counter-terrorists. We're actually going to identify the most common and most safe spots for the terrorists to be. And the reason for that is that because these are the most common and safe spots for terrorists, at least from the CT's perspective, it also happens to be the fact that these are the most easiest, or rather, I should say, the simplest spot to set up crossfire. So we are back, for example, let's say we're back on the A main, or let's say A bomb site on cache, right? So we have the A bomb site, right? So we have quad. That's the easiest setup to try. The reason that why terrorists always want to go to quad is that they want to. You can set up a crossfire anywhere on quad. So it's from quad, right? So let's say you have a guy. I guess you could say forklift for a guy A main, right? We can set up a guy forklift, set up a guy A main. You just have two potential crossfires. So you have a crossfire from a guy on quad, and then you have a crossfire from the other side as well. And what we can also do with this is that, give me a second here. Alright, we're back on the server. It's all good. So anyways, so now we can do all these other cool stuff as well. So usually the quad guy can, set up a crossfire for CT to push onto a bomb site, do forklift. You can also set up a crossfire from the CT pushing onto the bomb site from truck, and then you have the site guy as well, so you can set up crossfires together. Because remember, as a terrorist, you don't want to let CTs take that 1v1 engagement at all. You want to make sure that every time the CTs take the engagement, they have to take either unfavorable 1v1 engagements or trade kills, where they have to run into a crossfire down to the bomb site. So in this case, I jump A bomb site, easiest spot to set up a crossfire where two terrorists are going to be pointed to the same general area of quad. Then you're going to have, let's say, site, and then A main, and then forklift, right? These are generally the easiest areas to take. Now, so as you say you on different maps, you start to identify which areas you want to take for close plan. You need to keep that in mind, like which is the areas easiest to set up the crossfire, so that all C's can be watching all possible entries, but at the same time get backup from their teammates should a CT, actually go for the engagement at any given point in time. Like I see a lot of players, they'll make a really bad mistake on a bomb site, for example, or rather even on any bomb site. They'll play like spots where it's very hard for them to get trade kills. For example, this is a bomb site, something like right outside the spam box on red. So I mean, it could be a good angle for fighting truck, but if you die to the guy at truck, for example, say offer comes up, kills you on that spot, you have no trade kill, right? But for example, let's say you're holding this angle, you're on the bomb site itself, bomb planet, you're holding the angle, and you see the guy truck, fire, at the same time. The great thing about that spot is that because you can set up a crossfire to the quad guy can also slide out. Now you have two terrorists shooting at the same target versus one-on-one duels. And remember, that's the thing we want to minimize when we're fighting the CTs, is the minimize the amount of one-on-one they can take. I seriously cannot emphasize how much that matters in Counter-Strike. So as you set up your post plans, all that good stuff, you start running to your positions. You want to make sure that whatever spot you take, you can have a trade kill, or what sometimes happens is it's like a say 3v3 or 4v4. You get one kill in, and you kind of don't have a good spot to play on a site. Kind of play a spot that's kind of like an off angle, in which let's say for example, say we're on a bomb site, right? You can sometimes have a T sitting right here, deep A main. You can sometimes play spots that CTs won't really check if you don't have any safe spots on the A bomb site, or rather any bomb site in general. You can identify this. This is a hard spot for CT to push again, because if they don't expect this coming, it's going to get destroyed coming into here. Or even back of squeaky, for example, here on the A bomb site, the back of squeaky. It's kind of hard for, CTs are, there might be a guy pushing A main, right? But you already pushed up all the way here because already all the spots on A are taken. You can go for those 1v1 duels. But that's a big if, and that's kind of very situational based on what's the situation of the map, situation of the game, and so on and so forth. Now, last week that's basically my synopsis on basically choosing which bomb sites you want to play, whatever you want to do for crossfires. So remember, take the most common spots because you want to make sure you set up crossfires. Now, last week we talked about how CTs can use grenades to their advantage to cut off terrorists from each other, and to cut off, cut off parts of the map so they can clear out angles one by one easier. it also works in the same effect for the terrorists as well. So, CTs want to cut off a spot, you also have grenades as well. So it's not just only one team in the game that gets the grenades as well. So what you want to do with your grenades as a terrorist is you want to delay. Your objective is to delay with grenades. You want to delay with your smokes, you want to delay with your flashes, and you want to delay with your grenades, or even delay with your mollies if you can. Like for example, let's say you got the bomb down, so you do 8 smokes. The reason why we do in this situation we smoke off this area is because even though it may be a disadvantage for us to push into these smokes, the real objective for us doing the 8 smokes is that actually we're trying to cut off the ability for CTs to push into these
User
smokes,
joined your channel.
those plants. Like when you see the CT, you see all these 3 smokes on the ground, you're having to rethink yourself. For example, do I want to push that smoke? What if the Ts are there? What if they're not there? And all that stuff. And that's those many crucial seconds that the CTs are trying to figure out what to do with those smokes. It's a great deal. For example, like for example, you should say, CTs are coming off highway post plants, right? Because you have a guy mid that lost a duel. You got a bomb site. If you smoke off highway, guess what? That's a great thing for you to do, because now CTs have to figure out, okay, do I want to push that smoke now, or do I want to push that flash? What you're doing is basically using the grenades to delay the game as long as possible. You can even do it with like regular grenades as well, like, throw a grenade into highway or grenade into where you think the CTs will come from. I mean, anytime if that does a little damage, it's still going to slow them down because they still have to, manage themselves. Remember, retakes for CTs are a huge risk at all. A very, very huge risk. And we talked about this last week with the retake, that it's a very risky maneuver to even go for the retakes against the entrenched terrorist position. And the reason for that is because with well-placed smokes, well-placed flashes, and well-placed grenades, it's very, very difficult for CTs to push into. I mean, you can even put like random smokes anywhere. As long as these smokes, what they're doing is cutting off CT's ability to move around the bomb site, or rather put CT in such a situation that if they're going to push it, they may disadvantage, and that's good for you. Now, now the other next topic I'm going to talk about is time. So, I see a lot of people like post plants. They like to go really greedy, and sometimes it only really works if you know there's only like one CT left. It's like a 5v1 or a 4v1, and you want to get his gun off from him. But most of the time, I see so many people be very greedy for kills and like push out of the bomb site and let the CTs get the entry. And that's really bad because you're not playing for time. Remember, the objective
User
of the
left your
terrorists
channel.
is to not kill all the CTs, alright? But to actually get the bomb down. And more importantly, not just get the bomb down, make sure the bomb explodes. That's the whole point of Counter-Strike, of the terrorists. So basically, what you want to do is, remember, think with, as you're playing the game and you're in your post-plant situation, you want to be thinking, okay, we have bomb down, we have positioned terrorists in X, Y, and Z. Alright, what can the CTs can do to push against us, and how can we delay them to play for time? For example, like, if I know, if a 2v2 situation,
User joined your channel.
There's a CT-A, there's a CT coming highway, like, I should not be peeking out immediately, right? I should be jiggle peeking maybe, just try to play for information, and even better, just play for time. Because ultimately, at the end, the CTs have to be able to defuse the bomb in order to win, right? That's the reason why they're going for the retake, because they have to get the defuse off. And if you can delay that, no matter how, that's great. So we have our grenade usage, we have our delays. There's some tips, for example, you can, with delays, you see a lot of people, they use mollies, right? So they'll just molly off the bomb, right? Halfway
User
through.
joined your channel.
When you know the CT's close, because they have to wait for CT have to waste, 5 seconds. That's a lot of time. Especially if they don't have a kit, they might even not go for the defuse. Or you'll see good terrorists not even peek at all. Like, don't give CTs the angles that they want to go for. So they're just holding crossfire, which is completely fine though, because you can let the CT get close to you as long as you have the proper crossfires, as long as you are making sure that if you do get traded out, only one by one gets traded out in such a fashion that it took CTs a lot of time to get there, you'll be fine. So there's that time expansion. So remember, when we're playing with time, you want to be making sure that everything we do is doing it from that the bomb can explode successfully. So, yeah, but don't peek out, don't peek too early, don't play aggressive, don't do any like pushing post plan. Just get into your spots, identify if you're playing like a pre-made team, like figure out what are good post plan spots, what are good places to set up crossfires, and all that good stuff. And the other thing is, on CT side, you can actually kind of like not talk at all and still go for a retake, because you can just kind of have the intrinsic trust in your partners to go for it. But for Ts, the biggest mistake I see the terrorists make, they don't talk at all post plan. Because remember, we want to be setting up crossfire, but more importantly, we want to be making sure that we can have all the information we want as quickly as possible, so we can make our own judgment about whether we should adjust our position or use our flash or molly or smoke or whatever. So I see a lot of problems where like these will like not talk at all. So what I need, for example, what a good way to play post plan is be constantly talking. For example, if say you go to your post plans, right? So you know. You have, like, say, 3 terrorists post plane. One's going to say, okay, I'll go quad. One will say, okay, I'll go forklift, whatever. And these last guys say, okay, I got a main push. You know, now you set up yourself crossfire. You set up yourself, you know, communication with each other. You need to be constantly talking. For example, you say, oh, I hear 2 guys highway, you know, and A-man say, A-man's clear, you know. It means you know the last guy's truck, so the A-man can now swing around and help out with this, set up with crossfire, whatever, help with whatever utility grenades he has or whatnot. And... but most importantly, though, like, when you're communicating with each other, you need to be calling out, like, which spots you're watching. Like, for the love of God, like, just make sure you understand. Shut up, Pork. Yes, you need to call out which spots you're watching. That's the huge thing, like...
Pork, don't interrupt the teacher. What the hell are you doing?
That is a huge thing, like... I see many people, they'll, like, go to, like, bad angles because they're trying to watch a spot from, like, a cute angle. For example, they're trying to do, like, a tricky angle, but that spot's already been covered by someone else. For example, I'm saying here on the A bomb site, it's a good example of this. You have a guy quad. We'll go back to the first example. Guy quad. You have a guy, you know, forklift, and you have a guy A main, right? So everybody should be talking about which spots they're covering. If I got A main push, I got, you know, heavy push, I got whatever push. Doesn't matter any bomb site, any post plan situation. You need to be constantly talking with each other. Make sure that okay, they're pushing up now. Okay, let's peek together.
User
3,
joined your
2,
channel.
1, peek, right? And all that good stuff. Like. The CT don't really need to talk. Remember, 1v1 is basically a mastery of how good your 1v1 your dueling skills are, whereas post plan is the mastery of how good your team skills are, your team communication, teamwork, and all that good stuff. So, and that includes a lot of like good game sense as well. Like if you know they can be possibly pushing, you don't be pushing A main at all. Like why would you be deep A main? You can make sure you can support your partner. We talked about earlier today of why we want to make sure we set up those trade kills. So we talked about, you know, general post plans. We talked about general post plan, grenade usage, how to identify good spots, what to do for post plans, you know, all that, how to talk to each other, you know, what we really should be doing, like with communication and whatnot. And one of the the last subject I want to touch base on is what happens when it's like getting like really chaotic, you know, like all these messes coming in, CTs are just like flashing like crazy, you're flashing like crazy, you know. Like, how do you keep yourself under pressure, you know, under cool? So, no, you want to be, yeah, that's fine. But yeah, so, I mean, the post plans are going to be really crazy, like, because what good CTs are going to do is they're not going to be pushing one at a time. They're actually going to be pushing it all together at the same time, because their objective is to disrupt your flow of communication. For example, it's very easy as a terrorist if you only hear, okay, one guy's pushing up, one guy up toxic, and 5 seconds later after you kill him, okay, one guy's A main, you know, it's very easy for terrorists to play like that. But if you already have, like, terrorists that are saying, okay, guy toxic, guy's A main, guy's truck, all at the same time, that's very hectic, and that's going to affect your team communication a lot. And, you know, that's going to happen, you know, that's good CT play. What CT are doing is trying to disrupt you so they can maximize their 1v1s. You need to make sure you stay calm under pressure, whatever the method you use, like, for staying calm under any pressure at all. In general, it's just, like, identify what's the most important, like, thing you need to do right
User
now.
joined your channel.
Like, sometimes you might just have to go for that 1v1 duel. I mean, even though I strongly discourage it, you know, it's the game of Counter-Strike, anything can happen. And sometimes the bad moves are the good moves as well. Sometimes even good to actually go for the push through your own smoke. For example, you have your own smoke here at Highway, and you're playing post-toxic because there's already a guy up truck, and you hear CT reloading, yeah, go actually push that smoke, kill him, and fall back. Because that's the kind of gameplay that CTs won't be expecting. And most importantly, as a terrorist, anytime you kill off a CT in a post plant, and you don't get traded off of that, the CT's chances of retaking the bomb site decreases by like at least 100%. Because at the CT team, please don't kill me. I did not like that. At the CT team, it's actually very, very hard for incrementally hard, I should say, rather for CT to push into a bomb site with less and less members. So, you know, I'm sure many of you have experienced like trying to take try to do 1v1, 1v3 retake as a CT. It's super hard. 3v3 retake as CT, it's not so hard. And as a terrorist, you should know that, understand that. The more CTs you can kill off because of your good crossfires and your good setups and your good post plans, game sense and strategy and all that, the harder it is for CTs to push in.
User joined your channel.
So that was, I guess we kind of discussed that for about 20 minutes right now. So a little bit shorter than retake, only because, from my perspective, post plans at terrorists is more about the teamwork, and ultimately it is going to be a team goal, and rather than like the individual. Where for counter terrorists, retakes are more of an individual skill. Now, there is one case scenario I didn't really talk about, and that's actually the 1v1 post plan, and I think that's actually a really separate beast from like general, let's say 2v2 or 2v3 or 4v2 retakes. And the reason for that is because the 1v1 retake is, since you have the bomb down, you need to play completely different from what you would normally suspect yourself to do. And basically the best advice I could give is that basically whatever you do, don't get seen by the CT. Or rather, don't let yourself get in any position where the CT can catch you not be able to get away from, like run away from it, whatever. So even though use like pop flashes, smokes, or whatever, if you know where the CT's coming from, and usually you'll know where he's coming from, you can play around that. Or even sometimes actually does work. If you go for the one and done spots, which we talked about last week, so play like really stupid spots that only work if there's only one person there, and play that kind of stuff. I mean, in general post plans, you do not want to be playing one and done spots unless you have like a 5v2 where you basically wander around anyways because they're going to save the guns. So that's my little synopsis on post plans. Does anyone have any questions so far?
I guess I could form this as a question. What do you do if you're a man down in a post plant situation?
Alright, so man down, that's actually a good question. So basically, man down, we still will go to our general, like I talk about like 3v4s or 2v3s, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, or 2v5s or 3v5s or something.
Okay, so remember how we talked about the last week? We kind of had a long discussion about what are like the safest spots in terms of priority.
Mm-hmm.
Like you still want to be filling out those safest spots, but the reason because that you can still establish crossfire, and at the same time, those safe spots give you a lot of room to maneuver around. For example, like quad's basically the best spot on A site, right? Because you can move around the box. T's are pushing up. Two counter-terrorists pushed up A main. You can move around, set up with that. If they're like forklift, whatever, you can move around, all that good stuff. So you still are going to identify it, and most importantly, like you cannot be having your flashes out. Like you can't be actually wasting your time flashing other people in those kind of situations because you don't have the backup, and you can't afford to have the backup. So for me, in my opinion, it's just better if you're like let's say 2v5, 3v5, just have your gun out until like the end of the round. Where if it's like a 4v2, 3v2, you can have one guy, set flashes for other teammates to peek in. You can ultimately, there's a hierarchy of positions, and the safest one can help the least safe out, and all that good stuff. But you can't afford that when you're that down.
What do you think about pushing? Do you think there's a place for pushing when you're playing post plant, when you're a man down?
No. I think that's just always stupid. And the reason is because the counter-terrorists, unless you can catch like 3 guys off guard, that's actually never going to happen. Because the time to kill, for you to kill, like say 3 terrorists, 3 counter-terrorists, or rather 2 counter-terrorists, that's going to be so large that even if you get to catch them off guard, you're still going to get traded, and guess what? You just lost all your crossfire you had set up.
I mean, let's say you have information. There's 1 pushing a main, there's 2 from highway, or 1 truck, 1 highway. Wouldn't it be better for you to take, let's say a 1v3, wouldn't it be better for you to take the 1v1 with the A main guy when you know you have the opportunity to take it than before they're able to trade it?
I agree with the significant
actually, that does
numbers disadvantage.
Yeah, that does bring up a good point. In the 1v1, like numbers disadvantage, you actually kind of have to think yourself in the role of CT where you talk about taking those 1v1 duels. If you can't afford to take crossfire because your man's disadvantaged, you do have to take those 1v1 duels. And the same rules does apply if you do on the CT side. So like you said, like if you can distract his CTs from getting those trade kills, and I guess you could say this applies to any team, like or any setup in Counter-Strike. Like the team with the lower man advantage are just gonna have to take those 1v1 duels and win them, but at the same time making sure they don't get traded off. Whereas
User joined your channel.
The team with the higher man advantage, or rather, I should say, the higher team members, like team count, should set up for trades. So, like in your situation, like even though one guy's A main, two, truck or two highway, you definitely do want to take it because at the end they have to peak. They have to peak either together as one, or they have to peak one by one. And as the man with the disadvantage, you do actually want that. But then again, it depends on your teammates. Like if you have a teammate alive with you, can he support you when you do that? Can he throw a flash to A main while you peak if he's quad, or even if he's like on site, can he help you out with that? You do have to remember, like, if you're going to go for the pushes, you're leaving your teammates behind, if you have any teammates at all with you. And if they lose their duels, then you're kind of out of luck as well, because now CTs can set up a trade kill with you.
User disconnected from your channel.
So there's some risk analysis you have to make on the spot, like, do you want to go for that push, A main, or do you want to go for that risky, aggressive move, because you know you can get a 1v1 duel and win it. And if you can, like you can get that 1v1 duel, win it, and get back into a safe spot to continue to set up crossfires, then by all means go for it. And I think that depends on your intuition.
User joined your channel.
Like there's nothing that I can say, or I just set of rules that you would follow in your head if you want to go for it. Did that kind of answer your question?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Does anyone else have any other questions? Anybody? No questions on post plants? Nothing of that nature?
Well, the only thing, the main thing that I thought was interesting with this whole thing was the communication aspect. Post plant is T, because I don't think about that as often as I should.
Yeah, like remember, like CTs, you don't really need to communicate because ultimately your goal is to take those 1v1s, right? And you don't really need communication to go for the 1v1s, unless you have a like a 5v2 and you kind of want to do some talking for cross trades, or rather.
Yeah, if you have man advantage, isn't it advantageous as CT just to trade, and then use?
But I mean, as a T, a lot of time, unless you get a very successful entry, you're not going to have the man advantage. But you're going to have the time advantage, and time does matter a lot in this game. So, and sometimes that time does make up for the man advantage. All right, any other questions? If not, then if we have any further questions, like we can just post it, talk to me or whatever. Post it in the community guide thread, and then it's already 9 p.m. So that's going to conclude the post plant session. Thank you guys for listening, and let's get started with the community night, I guess. I will be gone for like an hour now, so I have to pick up some stuff. So I'll be back later tonight. But you guys can get ready for all that good stuff. Well, yeah, got to go meet a guy, pick up some stuff.
Does see a guy about a girl?
Oh, no, it's not.
Yeah, that's the body he's picking up.
Yeah, totally.